And a very good evening to all my viewers out there. I'm here in Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue, the eastern part of Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue. It is right now Wednesday, April the 17th, 2019. It's almost 8:57 p.m. here. And just continuing my coverage of monitoring the water levels. And you can see, compared to my last video this weekend where I was filming, seems to have gone down a little bit. You can kind of see where the water was right there where it's damp compared to where it is now. But that doesn't really mean anything, because the big story is what's going to be happening this weekend. And if you live in southern Ontario, southern Quebec, if you live in Montreal, Ottawa, Cornwall, I know one of my viewers, Alfred, who lives in southern Ontario, you got to watch the weather, because there's going to be a major rainstorm coming. And they're calling, I believe the Weather Network is calling between 30 millimeters up to 70 millimeters, depending on where you are in this region. And Environment Canada, like I said, is calling for, I think it's 50 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. And the big news in all this is the fact that all those areas that are about to get hit between Montreal, Ottawa, Cornwall, Gatineau, these are all the areas which feed this river system. And this scenario right now is the exact same scenario that happened in 2017. Now, even though the water levels right now seem to have gone down a little bit compared to the weekend, there is a massive, I guess you can say, unease right now going on in this area, because of the fact that we're officially under a flood watch here in Montreal. Those areas, Pierrefonds, Senneville, Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue, which is here, these are all areas that are right now under a flood watch. And it's hard to say right now how high the water is going to get. It all depends on the temperatures, how much rain actually falls. And there's still ice, even though there's a lot of ice that broke up, there's still ice that is causing problems. And of course, when you have ice, you get ice jams, and that creates a backlog of water, and that can overflow. So, I mean, if you live in the area, like I said, between Montreal and southern Ontario, you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on the weather. And the important thing to realize is you're not going to see flooding right away. You're not going to see flooding as soon as this rain starts to fall. You're going to see the flooding and the effects of the rain after. And it could be a day or two where you're going to start seeing the water level rising rapidly. And I know Ottawa right now is also under a flood watch. So, you know, as I was saying in my last video when I was here, you know, this is eerily similar to 2017. And I know there was some flooding southeast of Montreal, the Booseville region, I think, or the Boost region. But anyways, things are going to get very interesting this weekend. And I'm looking at next week's weather. I think there's even more rain forecast. So it's going to be very interesting to see how high the water level gets. And what we're going to do here, I want to make some kind of a measurement, kind of a reference point of the height of the water. So you can see right here we have some of this rock here that's exposed. These roots here are exposed. So we're going to compare basically where the water is now compared to where it will be after all this rain enters the area. And we're going to use maybe a reference point, this area here where these, I guess you could say these trees here all come together. I don't know if this is one tree or multiple trees, but let's just say this area here, this gap. So we're going to see how high the water level is going to get. And if you remember in 2017, the water came all the way up here, all the way to that tree. You can't really see it, but just keep in mind where I'm going. This pine tree over here. And you can see the ground is still affected 2 years after the flooding. Look at this. But that came all the way to this tree over here. So we're going to see how high the water gets. And this is going to be the tree that I'm going to be using as a reference mark in all my videos moving forward, covering any flooding. So this area is going to be an area where I'll keep coming back and checking. You know, the water could get up to, try to find a stick here to point. They're all wet. Anyways, I'll go down here a bit. But anyways, I'm you know, the water could come up to here potentially. Could even come up to here. Who knows? It's all going to depend on, like I said, a number of factors. But if you live in southern Quebec, southern Ontario, this weekend and specifically early next week, keep an eye on those rivers. And if you live by any rivers, specifically the Milio River, the Rivière des Prairies, Ottawa River, especially between western Montreal, like Pierrefonds, St. Anne's, all the way to Ottawa, then you got to be prepared to potentially move. So we'll see what happens. All right, have a good night all. More flood coverage to continue, and we'll see what happens. All right, see y'all soon.